want to begin with your assessment of Ukraine right now. Nearly 2 years into this fight against Russia's invasion, how is the country doing right now?
First of all, I'm every week on the front line, delivering maximum we can assist. And for these 640 days also, we delivered more than 100 million euro to the armed forces of our private money. And I know exactly what soldiers think, exact situation on the front line. And I can tell you that Ukraine surprised the world, not only from the beginning, but now. Because I'm proud that I built the armed forces since year 2014 together, by the way, with the Canadian forces, because first instructor who come to help me 9 years ago, it was Canada, Australia, United States, and Great Britain. And with that situation, I think we have 3 absolutely fantastic operations in Kiev, in Kharkiv, in Kherson. And what another things doing now, this is we beat Russian Navy in the Black Sea area. We do not allow Russia to block our Black Sea port and to weaponize food, to weaponize energy, and Russia afraid even to appear in this zone because this is a new type of the war, and we start to use new unmanned vessel, UAV, and many other things. But the situation is extremely difficult on the front line, both on the east and on the south. And definitely Russia send a new part of the meat of the terrorists, and more than 1,000 Russian soldiers liquidate every single day. About more than 10 tanks and armed personnel carrier. But we definitely need the new stage of the war. The war when we have an ahead and privilege in technology, in drones, in radio electronic warfare system, in counter battery, and thanks to Canada, which joined F-16 coalition, send an instructor to prepare and to train our pilot. We definitely need Air Force, because now all our offensive operation providing in a condition of the full Russian dominance in the air is extremely difficult.
You talk about what you need right now, and we did hear Alicia Kearns, British MP, the chair of the UK Foreign Committee, and she said to everybody at this security forum that the West has failed Ukraine because the West has given Ukraine enough to survive, but not enough to win this war. What do you say to that?
I know Alicia very well. She is very wise and sober-minded MP and friend of Ukraine. And I think the significant part of what he said is absolutely true. We have, if we take the message with the one sentence, this is: we have enough weapons to fight, but not enough weapons to win. But our purpose is not just to keep Russia and to have a positioned war. Our purpose is a victory. The only way how we can finish the war is a victory of Ukraine. And if we do not have this victory, this means that Putin will use the time in between the ceasefire to prepare to produce more weapons, more missiles, more jet fighter, and to attack again. Nobody knows where. Maybe in Baltic states, maybe in Balkan. But Putin, the only way how Putin can to survive is to destabilize. Destabilize region, destabilize continent, destabilize world.
How do you define victory against Russia? What does that look like?
2 factors. First factor is weapons, sanction, and justice. And second factor is full Ukrainian membership in NATO, because there does not exist any other form of the security guarantee than NATO. You remember that we talk about Israeli type of the security guarantee, which was granted to the United States, G7 to Israel. Does they stop attack of Hamas on Israel in the Middle East? No. That means that when Russia ruined all post-war security mechanism based on the Security Council of the United Nations, that means that we have only one instrument. This instrument for sustainable security situation on the continent. And the name of this mechanism is NATO. What we need to join NATO, that all NATO member states to support it, we need two things. Thing number one, reform. Ukraine should be prepared for the NATO membership. By the way, the list of the reform compared with the membership in EU and membership in NATO is 85 or 90% the same. And with that situation, my request, which I present here, was please, our partners, all the NATO member states, from General Secretary, please give us the list of the 10, 8, or maybe 5 the most important reform. Anti-corruption, security sector, rule of law and legal reform, these type of things, which was easy accessible. And I promise you, I do my best to make this reform and to present it for assessment before the Washington summit. And the question of the reform and reform of Ukraine would be successfully finished because this is in our interest. We do it not for America, not for Canadian, or not for NATO. And the second is the Article 5. And Article 5, they say that it is not possible to have it during the war. Please, give us an invitation on Washington summit and put the special agreement that the full membership of Ukraine in NATO would be first day of the peace. It would be enough for us. It would be very strong motivation, and it would be guarantee for security.
And that would have an impact on this war.
Undoubtedly. Without that, even more. Without that, nothing happens.
How does it have an impact on the war? If you are able to have full membership the first day of peace, how would that type of signal change the war for Ukraine?
Because I have no doubt that with the new technologies, with the new weapons, Ukrainian armed forces would be the same successful as 640 days. Please do not follow the Russian narrative that Ukraine loses in the war. This is simply not true. No any NATO member states can demonstrate an offensive operation without air dominance like Ukraine did. No NATO countries can demonstrate successful naval operation without navy, as Ukraine did. And no NATO countries can demonstrate the effectiveness of the counter-offensive operation when Russia have a bigger number of troops than we are, bigger number of artillery than we are, bigger number of the ammunition than we are. And even in this situation, our army, our armed forces make a miracle and demonstrate the progress. Please, don't lose an optimism. And just keep in mind that Ukraine and Russia, what is the difference? Russia is fighting against the whole world, and Ukraine is fighting for the whole world. Russia is demonstrating because they expected that the democratic countries is weak. And that's why authoritarian Russia can win war like that within 72 hours. We demonstrate that democracy is stronger, undoubtedly. Just want to remind you that before the war, Russia spent from 60 to 80 billion dollars as a military budget per year. Do you know how much Ukraine spent? 4. And even with that situation, and 4 under my presidency, before that it was less than 2. And even under my presidency, we stop Russia. We make free from Russia 2/3 of the occupied Donbass. We stop Wagner team, with number of almost 30,000 fighters, and that was not a prisoner from the Russian prison, but that was the most prepared Russian soldier who were trained especially for attacking in Ukraine. Please believe in Ukrainian victory, because that victory would be victory of Canada, victory of US, victory of the whole free world. And the last arguments. Somebody speak about the money today. My answer would be, the cheapest way to win the war would be support Ukraine, give weapons of Ukraine, and give an invitation to Ukraine to NATO. Very simple 3 steps.
And when
Otherwise, we will not only spend 10 times more money, because Russia will do not stop, but you will fight with your own soldiers. And this is, believe me, I know what does it mean. I am on the funeral of my friends, my party members, members of my team, every single week. This is a disaster.
So what kind of reaction are you getting then to your message? We have representatives here from across North America and Europe. How are people reacting to what you're saying?
This is not just reception in the Halifax. First of all, I want to use this opportunity to thank Canada and Halifax team for absolutely excellent organizing of this meeting, because based on this dialogue, we can have a strategy, exit strategy from the war. And when I was asked what is the exit strategy here on Halifax, I said, please, I want to give you a piece of advice to read the words of the Senator McCain, which he mentioned on the first Halifax Forum about the exit strategy. And he said the only exit strategy with Russia can be our success. In our interpretation can be our victory. And for this victory we need unity. Unity inside of Ukraine, which I try to do my best to demonstrate, and unity in the world. And please do not use any other things, election, political, populism, to ruin bipartisan support of Ukraine. This is extremely dangerous for your own country. And don't play these dirty Putin games. And again, another things, it does not exist any gray zone in war between Russia and Ukraine and in support and the global coalition. Because if you do not support of Ukraine, if you want to stay aside, if you want to put some additional condition to stop or to hook support of Ukraine, that means you are on the Putin side, which is completely unacceptable, because this side is the side X of evil. Russia, North Korea, Iran. Does anybody wants to join this team?
President Poroshenko, I appreciate the time today. Thank you for that.
It's a pleasure.
And
thank you.